Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, students and physics enthusiasts. Here's a continuation of my past upload on motional AMF. This time, we determine the terminal speed of a metal bar moving across a uniform magnetic field. So join me till the end of this video. Watch and learn. The problem is a metal bar with length capital L, mass small m, and resistance big R is placed on frictionless metal rails that are inclined at an angle phi above the horizontal. The rails have negligible resistance. A uniform magnetic field of magnitude capital B is directed downward as shown in figure 1. The bar is released from rest and slides down the rails. Question letter A. Is the direction of the current induced in the bar from point A to point B or from point B to point A? Question letter B. What is the terminal speed of the bar? Question letter C. What is the induced current in the bar when the terminal speed has been reached? Question letter D. After the terminal speed has been reached, at what rate is electrical energy being converted to thermal energy in the resistance of the bar? And question letter E. After the terminal speed has been reached, at what rate is the work being done on the bar by gravity? So as illustrated in figure 1, we have the metal bar with length L, mass small m, and resistance big R, okay, placed on a frictionless metal rail, okay, that are inclined at an angle phi above the horizontal. So the rails are assumed to be frictionless and have negligible resistance. There is a uniform magnetic field, okay, throughout this region, right, across which the metal ball will be moving. Okay, so the bar is released from rest and slides down the rails, acting as a generator. Okay, in other words, the moving metal bar here can generate electricity. All right. So how does this happen? We first identify our target variable. In part A is the terminal speed, which we label as small b terminal. Okay. It is the speed of the metal bar acquired when it stops accelerating down the incline. In other words, when it experiences zero net force. And zero net force happens if the component of the force of gravity is balanced by the magnetic force, okay, that is exerted on the bar, okay, during which a process known as electromagnetic induction occurs, okay, and an electromotive force denoted by epsilon, okay, also known as motional electromotive force, is also induced in this process. All right. So this motional EMF or induced EMF is just equal to the product. We are talking about the magnitude, okay, of the induced EMF. It's just equal to the product of the magnetic field, capital B, the length of the bar, and the component of the terminal speed that is exactly perpendicular to the magnetic field, and that is V times cosine of the angle phi. Okay? Now, the direction of this induced EMF, or sometimes they also call this the induced voltage, can be determined using your right hand rule, right? So, in using the right hand rule, make sure that your thumb and your forefingers make an angle of 90 degrees. In short, they must be perpendicular. So, we represent your thumb to indicate, or use your thumb, okay, to indicate the direction of the magnetic field, which in this figure is vertically downward. All right? And the four fingers, okay, which should be representing the induced EMF, okay, uh, can be determined, okay, when the right palm is facing, okay, towards the direction of the terminal velocity, okay, of the bar, which in this case is down the incline. All right? So you have to do it. Your thumb is pointing vertically downwards, while your uh, palm must be facing in the direction, okay, in the direction of the terminal velocity, which is down the incline. You will notice that the other four fingers will be pointing, okay, from point A to point B in the bar. Okay, so try doing that repeatedly until you're convinced that the direction of the induced EMF, okay, relative to the bar is from point A to point B, or it makes point B the positive, or the what do you call, positive polarity, while point A becoming the negative polarity. All right. So in describing the direction of the induced current, we say it is from point A to point B within the bar, right? And as far as the outside direction of the current, when we say outside, we are describing the closed loop that the bar makes with the rails, right? So since point B is uh, likened to the positive terminal of a dry cell, while point A, okay, is the negative terminal of a dry cell, okay, it looks like that the direction of the current, okay, around this uh, square or rectangular loop composed of the bar and the rails is clockwise, isn't it? All right. Now, um, where does the magnetic force come in? All right. Because of the downward motion of the metal bar, okay, and that the current within the bar, the induced current within the bar is from point A to point B. This current will be opposed, meaning uh, there is a magnetic force, okay, due to the magnetic field. It tries to oppose the direction of the bar, okay. So the component of the gravitational force, okay, pulling the bar down the incline is opposed by the magnetic force due to the magnetic field pushing the bar up the incline. That's why the the bar achieves or reaches what we call a terminal speed because the net force now becomes zero, right? The component of the force of gravity is being balanced, okay, by the force of or the magnetic force due to the magnetic field, okay, opposing the movement of the bar. And this magnetic force can be expressed, okay, in terms of the product of the induced current, capital I, the length of the metal bar, and the component of the magnetic field, okay, B cosine angle phi. That is the component of the magnetic field that is perfectly perpendicular, okay, to the direction of the terminal velocity of the bar. Okay, and as I said, the direction of this magnetic force is opposite to the direction of the component of the force of gravity. So while the component of the force of gravity is down the incline, this magnetic force is up the incline. Okay, and you can also verify the direction of this force using Fleming's law, right? But with a little modification in using your right hand. Okay, so the uh, the magnetic field this time, or the component of the magnetic field, uh, capital B cosine P, is represented by the four fingers. All right, while the direction of the induced current in the bar is represented by your thumb. So that is the modification. Okay, so where is the magnetic force directed? All right, so position your right hand such that uh, your four fingers is vertically or directed vertically downwards, while the induced current is from A to B, right? Notice where the right palm is facing. Isn't it facing up the incline? All right, right? That is the direction of the magnetic force. It is directed opposite to the direction of the component of the force of gravity, which is down the plane. In preparation for our task to find the expression for terminal speed of the metal bar, okay, we again emphasize the convention why the metal bar has reached terminal speed. Okay, and that is because of uh, experiencing net force equals zero. Okay, where the magnetic force balances, okay, the component of the gravitational force. That is, the magnetic force, which is uh, expressed as the product of the induced current capital I times the length of the bar and the component of the magnetic field that is perfectly perpendicular, all right, to the direction of the current, B cosine angle phi, and equated to the expression for the component of the force of gravity, okay, directed down the incline. And we also make use of the relationship between the induced EMF, the current, and the resistance R, where the induced current is just equal to the induced EMF divided by the resistance R. Okay? And from this equality equation, we just replace the current capital I, right, by the expression for induced EMF and then divided by R. That is quantity capital B times capital L times the terminal speed V cosine angle phi and then divided by R, right? So this is the expression for the induced EMF divided by the resistance R. And of course, that will also still have to be multiplied by capital L, capital B cosine angle phi, then equated to the component of the force of gravity, okay, directed down the incline. And the quantity magnetic field here, okay, can be multiplied by another magnetic field, B. Okay. Likewise, the same thing for the length, capital L, and the cosine of the angle phi. Okay. In the process of canceling the or squaring some of the quantities, okay, we can also isolate the terminal speed V later, all right, to finally arrive at its desired expression. So, B times B, of course, is B squared. L times L is L squared. And then cosine phi multiplied by another cosine phi gives us cosine squared phi. Okay. And the terminal speed B is just put down here, this equation, then equated to mg times r. Okay, the resistance, big R here, is cross multiplied to the right side of the equation, mgr, and then sine angle phi. Okay, so when isolated, the terminal speed v can be expressed now in its desired expression. Right? Terminal speed being equal to the product of the mass of the metal bar times acceleration due to gravity times its resistance big R and sine of the angle phi divided by the square of the magnetic field B multiplied by the square of the length L and of course the square of the cosine value of angle phi, which is our uh, answer to the question in part B. In part C, we are determining the expression for the induced current capital I. So based on the relationship between the induced current and the induced voltage or EMF, that is current I equal to the EMF divided by the resistance big R, okay, where this current capital I, okay, is equal to the product of the magnetic field capital B and the length of the bar capital L multiplied by the component of the terminal speed or terminal velocity that is perpendicular to the magnetic field, and that is terminal speed times cosine angle P, and of course divided by capital R. And expanding the expression for the terminal speed V, okay, we get capital I equals uh, capital B times capital L cosine phi over capital R multiplied by mg times R sine P and then divided by B squared times L squared and cosine square of the cosine value of angle phi. Okay, so we can simplify this by canceling some of the quantities like the magnetic field B, the length L, the cosine of angle P, okay, the resistance big R, and then replace uh, the sine P divided by the cosine the angle P, which is actually tangent of the angle phi. So we obtain a much shorter expression for this induced current. That is, capital I is equal to the product of the mass, the acceleration due to gravity, and the tangent of the angle phi divided by uh, the magnetic field, capital B, times the length of the bar, capital N. In part D, we are looking for the expression, okay, to represent the rate of electrical energy being converted to thermal energy. Okay, we denote that here as capital P. And we know that the amount of power that is generated, okay, by the presence of the resistance big R in the bar or the metal bar is given in this equation. Capital P equals the product of I squared and the big R or resistance big R. So we simply uh, substitute the expression for the induced current that we obtained earlier, which is mg times tangent of the angle P divided by uh, the magnetic field B multiplied by the length of the bar, and then square them all. Okay, all the quantities inside this parenthesis will be squared and then multiplied by the resistance big R. Okay, which results to the rate of electrical energy converted to thermal energy P, okay, equal to the square of the mass times the square of acceleration due to gravity times big R, and then times the square value of tangent angle phi divided by square of magnetic field and multiplied by the square of the length capital L, which is our final answer to question letter D. Last but not least, we find an expression for the rate of work done by gravity, denoted here as capital P sub gravity. Of course, we base our determination for the expression from a basic formula in kinematics, okay, which says that the gravitational power or capital P sub grav, okay, is just equal to the amount of force, in this case, gravitational force, and the speed, okay, of the body, multiplying the force exerted on the body by its speed gives us the amount of power, okay, the amount of power that is expended on the body. So when applied in this situation, okay, the the power, okay, or rate of work done by gravity, it's just the amount of the force of gravity, which we express as mg sine of the angle phi, right? Multiplied by the what we call terminal speed of the bar. Okay? And then using the earlier expression for the terminal speed, okay, we just substitute that here and come up with this, again, long expression for piece of ground. Okay, mg, or the weight of the bar, times sine of the angle phi, multiplied by mass of the bar, acceleration due to gravity, and times the resistance big R, multiplied by sine of the angle P divided by K, the magnetic field capital B squared, multiplied by the length of the bar, capital L squared, and multiplied by the cosine value of the angle, or the square value of the angle phi. Okay? So, again, when we simplify this further, this is the desired expression for the rate of work done by gravity, okay, equal to the product of the resistance big R, okay, times the square of the mass of the metal bar, square, or times the square of acceleration due to gravity, then multiplied by the square value of tangent phi, then divided by the square of the length of the bar, which is multiplied by the square of the magnetic field B, which is, of course, the answer to our question in part E. So for our evaluation, the rate of work done by gravity is just the same as the rate of electrical energy converted to thermal energy. Okay? The moving metal bar through the magnetic field induces an EMF and a current in the bar rail loop. The field then gives rise to a magnetic force, okay, on this current that opposes the force of gravity. The metal bar reaches terminal speed when the magnetic force balances the force of gravity based on the derived expression for the terminal speed being equal to mg times big R times sine of angle phi divided by b squared times L squared and the square of the value of cosine phi. It is, right, meaning the terminal speed is dependent on the magnitude of the magnetic field. Stronger the magnetic field, the lower the terminal speed. So that concludes our uh, physics video tutorial. Mabuhay! Kita-kits in the next episode. MashaAllah. Thank you very much for your indulgence. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alhamdulillah.